Question 1. In New Mexico, an officer reads a report indicating that a suspect was observed leaving a crime scene at 9:15 p.m. and the suspect's vehicle was found abandoned 4 miles away at 9:45 p.m. Which conclusion can be logically drawn from this information? A. The suspect drove straight to the location where the vehicle was abandoned. B. The suspect's vehicle broke down. C. The suspect had an accomplice waiting at the crime scene. D. The suspect took a longer route to abandon the vehicle. Answer: A. The suspect drove straight to the location where the vehicle was abandoned. Explanation: the given information indicates that the suspect was seen leaving at 9:15 p.m. and the vehicle was found 4 miles away at 9:45 p.m. The logical conclusion is that the suspect drove directly to the location where the vehicle was abandoned. Other options are speculative without additional evidence. Question 2. Officer Rodriguez in New Mexico needs to allocate resources for a large public event. The event requires 30% of the police department's 120 officers to be on duty. How many officers does Officer Rodriguez need to assign? A. 36. B. 40. C. 45. D. 48. Answer: A. 36. Explanation: to find 30% of 120 officers, multiply 120 by 0.30, which equals 36. Therefore, Officer Rodriguez needs to assign 36 officers for the event. Question 3. Officer Martinez in New Mexico witnesses his partner accepting a bribe from a local business owner. According to the ethical standards in law enforcement, what should Officer Martinez do? A. Ignore the incident to avoid conflict. B. Confront his partner privately and demand an explanation. C. Report the incident to his superior officer immediately. D. Record the incident and use it as leverage later. Answer: C. Report the incident to his superior officer immediately. Explanation: upholding integrity and ethics is crucial in law enforcement. Officer Martinez is obligated to report any unethical behavior, including bribery, to maintain public trust and accountability. The New Mexico Code of Conduct requires officers to act in accordance with the law and report any misconduct. Question 4. During a lawful traffic stop in New Mexico, an officer notices a suspicious bag on the back seat. According to the Fourth Amendment, what should the officer do next? A. Immediately search the bag without consent. B. Ask for the driver's consent to search the bag. C. Detain the driver until a search warrant is obtained. D. Ignore the bag as it is not part of the initial stop. Answer: B. Ask for the driver's consent to search the bag. Explanation: the Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches and seizures. Without probable cause or a warrant, the officer should seek consent before searching the bag. This ensures the officer complies with constitutional protections against unreasonable searches. Question 5. Officer Hernandez in New Mexico is responding to a domestic disturbance. Upon arrival, she finds Mr. Lopez, who is visibly upset and has a history of aggressive behavior. What should Officer Hernandez do first? A. Immediately restrain Mr. Lopez to prevent any potential violence. B. Calmly talk to Mr. Lopez to understand the situation. C. Call for backup and wait outside until they arrive. D. Ignore Mr. Lopez and speak only to the other party involved. Answer: B. Calmly talk to Mr. Lopez to understand the situation. Explanation: the best course of action is to de-escalate the situation by calmly talking to Mr. Lopez. This approach helps in assessing the situation while maintaining safety and control. Communication and de-escalation techniques are essential skills in handling domestic disturbances effectively. Question 6. In New Mexico, Multiple burglary reports indicate entry through rear basement windows. Which preventive measure should the police department prioritize? A. Install more lighting in front of houses. B. Increase patrols in neighborhoods with basements. C. Advise residents to secure basement windows more effectively. D. Focus on educating residents about general home security. Answer: C. Advise residents to secure basement windows more effectively. Explanation: the repeated entry through rear basement windows suggests that this is a specific vulnerability. Strengthening security measures for basement windows addresses the identified risk directly and is a targeted approach to preventing future burglaries. Question 7. During a role-playing exercise in New Mexico, Officer Kim is the first to arrive at the scene of an active shooter situation. What should his priority be? A. Wait for backup before entering the building. B. Secure the perimeter and prevent anyone from entering. C. Enter the building immediately to neutralize the threat. D. Evacuate nearby civilians and wait for SWAT. Answer: C. Enter the building immediately to neutralize the threat. Explanation: in an active shooter situation, the priority is to stop the shooter to prevent further casualties. Immediate action to neutralize the threat is essential, following the principle of active threat response. This approach aims to save lives by addressing the threat directly. Question 8. Officer Johnson in New Mexico is organizing a community outreach event. What is an effective activity to include to build trust and cooperation with the community? A. A lecture on the history of policing. B. A session on the importance of obeying the law. C. An interactive Q&A session with community members. D. A demonstration of police tactics and equipment. Answer: C. An interactive Q&A session with community members. Explanation: an interactive Q&A session fosters open communication, builds trust, and allows community members to voice concerns and ask questions. This enhances public relations and cooperation, aligning with the goals of community policing. Question 9. In New Mexico, if it is observed that all reported car thefts happen in poorly lit areas, what can be logically concluded? A. Car thefts are more likely to occur in well-lit areas. B. Better lighting might reduce the occurrence of car thefts. C. All car thieves prefer working during the day. D. Poor lighting has no effect on car theft rates. Answer: B. Better lighting might reduce the occurrence of car thefts. Explanation: the observation that car thefts occur in poorly lit areas suggests that poor lighting may facilitate these crimes. Improving lighting in these areas could deter thieves and reduce the incidence of car thefts, making it a logical preventive measure. Question 10. Officer Garcia in New Mexico is assigned to a multi-agency task force. How should he approach this assignment to ensure effective collaboration? A. Focus only on his tasks and avoid collaboration. B. Take charge and lead the task force without consulting others. C. Collaborate and communicate openly with all team members. D. Work independently to avoid conflicts. Answer: C. Collaborate and communicate openly with all team members. Explanation: effective teamwork requires open communication and collaboration, especially in multi-agency assignments. Working cooperatively with others and contributing to a team ensures coordinated efforts and success in achieving common goals. Question 11. Which of the following sentences is most appropriate for a police report in New Mexico? A. The suspect aggressively entered the premises without any hesitation, causing a huge ruckus. B. The suspect entered the premises forcibly, causing significant disturbance. C. The suspect entered the premises in a manner that could be described as highly disruptive and aggressive. D. The suspect came in and made a big scene, which caused a lot of problems. Answer: B. The suspect entered the premises forcibly, causing significant disturbance. Explanation: Sentence B is clear, concise, and uses professional language appropriate for a police report. It accurately describes the incident without unnecessary embellishments, maintaining a professional tone and clarity. Question 12. In New Mexico, what is required for a police officer to legally search a suspect's home? A. Verbal consent from the suspect. B. A warrant issued by a judge. C. Suspicion of illegal activity. D. A tip from a reliable informant. Answer: B. A warrant issued by a judge. Explanation: The Fourth Amendment requires law enforcement to obtain a warrant issued by a judge based on probable cause to conduct a search of a suspect's home. This ensures protection against unreasonable searches and upholds constitutional rights. Question 13. Officer Smith in New Mexico is the first responder to a report of an armed robbery at a convenience store. What should his immediate action be upon arrival? A. Enter the store and apprehend the suspect. B. Secure the perimeter and wait for backup. C. Interview witnesses outside the store. D. Call for backup and wait in his patrol car. Answer: B. Secure the perimeter and wait for backup. Explanation: Securing the perimeter ensures the suspect cannot escape and no one enters the potentially dangerous area. Waiting for backup is crucial to ensure officer safety and effective resolution of the situation. This approach aligns with standard police procedures for handling armed robbery incidents. Question 14. In the state of New Mexico, what is the primary purpose of a search warrant? A. To seize evidence without a warrant. B. To conduct a warrantless search. C. To obtain a court-issued authorization to search a person or premises. D. To detain a suspect without a warrant. Correct answer: C. To obtain a court-issued authorization to search a person or premises. Explanation: In New Mexico, a search warrant is issued by a court and is used to authorize a search of a person or premises. This is in accordance with the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which requires that searches be conducted with a warrant issued by a neutral magistrate, unless there is an exception such as exigent circumstances. Question 15. Which of the following is not a requirement for making an arrest in New Mexico? A. Probable cause. B. Reasonable suspicion. C. A valid warrant. D. A suspect's consent. Correct answer: D. A suspect's consent. Explanation: In New Mexico, an arrest can be made with probable cause, reasonable suspicion, or with a valid warrant. However, consent is not sufficient to justify an arrest. The law enforcement officer must have one of the above listed grounds to make an arrest. Question 16. Scenario: Officer Johnson is responding to a domestic disturbance call. Upon arrival, she finds a family arguing in the living room. What should Officer Johnson do? A. Separate the parties and try to mediate the dispute. B. Arrest one of the parties for disorderly conduct. C. Call for backup and wait for further instructions. D. Use force to intervene in the dispute. Correct answer: A. Separate the parties and try to mediate the dispute. Explanation: In this scenario, Officer Johnson should prioritize de-escalation and try to mediate the dispute. This is because domestic disturbances often involve complex emotional situations and may not necessarily require an arrest. Mediation can help resolve the issue without resorting to force. Question 17. What is the primary purpose of a police report in New Mexico? A. To document an arrest. B. To document an incident or event. C. To document evidence collected. D. To document administrative tasks. Correct answer: B. To document an incident or event. Explanation. In New Mexico, a police report is used to document an incident or event, including details about what happened, who was involved, and any relevant evidence. This documentation is crucial for record-keeping and potential future legal proceedings. Question 18. Which of the following is not a requirement for conducting a traffic stop in New Mexico? A. The vehicle must be stopped in a safe location. B. The officer must have reasonable suspicion. C. The driver must be given notice of the stop. D. The officer must have probable cause. Correct answer. D. The officer must have probable cause. Explanation. In New Mexico, a traffic stop can be conducted with reasonable suspicion or probable cause. However, probable cause is not required for every traffic stop. Reasonable suspicion is sufficient to justify stopping a vehicle. Question 19. In New Mexico, what is the legal requirement for the use of force in law enforcement? A. The use of force must be reasonable and necessary. B. The use of force must be proportional to the threat. C. The use of force must be used only as a last resort. D. The use of force is never permitted. Correct answer. A. The use of force must be reasonable and necessary. Explanation. In New Mexico, the legal requirement for the use of force is that it must be reasonable and necessary. This means that law enforcement officers must use the minimum amount of force necessary to achieve their objective, taking into account the situation and the threat posed. Question 20. What is the primary purpose of community policing in New Mexico? A. To respond to emergencies quickly. B. To engage with the community and build trust. C. To enforce laws and regulations. D. To collect evidence. Correct answer. B. To engage with the community and build trust. Explanation. In New Mexico, community policing is a proactive approach that focuses on building relationships with community members, understanding their needs, and addressing issues through collaboration. This approach aims to build trust and improve public safety. Question 21. Which of the following is a characteristic of effective communication in law enforcement? A. Using technical jargon to confuse witnesses. B. Listening actively and clarifying information. C. Avoiding eye contact and speaking in a monotone voice. D. Interrupting others to dominate the conversation. Correct answer. B. Listening actively and clarifying information. Explanation. Effective communication in law enforcement involves active listening, clear and concise language, and a willingness to clarify information. This helps to ensure that all parties understand each other and can work together effectively. Question 22. Scenario. Officer Rodriguez is responding to a call about a suspicious person loitering near a school. Upon arrival, she finds a person matching the description. What should Officer Rodriguez do? A. Arrest the person on suspicion. B. Ask the person to leave the area. C. Conduct a pat-down search for weapons. D. Call for backup before proceeding. Correct answer. D. Call for backup before proceeding. Explanation. In this scenario, Officer Rodriguez should prioritize caution and call for backup before proceeding. This is because the situation may involve a potential threat or a sensitive issue, and additional resources may be necessary to ensure everyone's safety. Question 23. What is the purpose of a booking process in New Mexico? A. To document evidence collected at a crime scene. B. To record an arrestee's physical characteristics. C. To process an arrestee's personal belongings. D. To photograph an arrestee's injuries. Correct answer. C. To process an arrestee's personal belongings. Explanation. In New Mexico, The booking process involves processing an arrestee's personal belongings, including searching for weapons or contraband. This is an important step in ensuring public safety and maintaining order. Question 24. Which of the following is not a component of critical thinking in law enforcement? A. Analyzing situations. B. Identifying problems. C. Evaluating solutions. D. Making moral judgments. Correct answer: D. Making moral judgments. Explanation: critical thinking in law enforcement involves analyzing situations, identifying problems, and evaluating solutions. However, making moral judgments is not a component of critical thinking, as it can lead to biased decision-making. Question 25. What is the primary purpose of police procedures in New Mexico? A. To provide training for officers. B. To establish standards for conduct. C. To facilitate communication between agencies. D. To provide guidelines for search warrants. Correct answer: B. To establish standards for conduct. Explanation: in New Mexico, police procedures are established to provide guidelines for officer conduct and ensure consistency across agencies. This includes procedures for arrests, searches, and seizures. Question 26. Scenario: Officer Sanchez is responding to a call about a missing person. Upon arrival, she finds a witness who provides information about the missing person's location. What should Officer Sanchez do? A. Follow up on the witness's information immediately. B. Conduct a thorough investigation before acting on the information. C. Interview additional witnesses before proceeding. D. Call for backup before searching for the missing person. Correct answer: B. Conduct a thorough investigation before acting on the information. Explanation: in this scenario, Officer Sanchez should prioritize conducting a thorough investigation before acting on the witness's information. This involves gathering more information, verifying details, and ensuring that all options are considered before proceeding. Question 27. Which of the following is not a characteristic of effective teamwork in law enforcement? A. Communicating effectively. B. Trusting colleagues. C. Being willing to compromise. D. Being unwilling to delegate tasks. Correct answer: D. Being unwilling to delegate tasks. Explanation: effective teamwork in law enforcement involves communicating effectively, trusting colleagues, and being willing to compromise. However, being unwilling to delegate tasks can hinder collaboration and lead to inefficiencies. Question 28. What is the purpose of a preliminary investigation in New Mexico? A. To gather evidence and interview witnesses. B. To conduct a thorough investigation before filing charges. C. To determine whether a crime has been committed. D. To determine whether a suspect has a criminal record. Correct answer: C. To determine whether a crime has been committed. Explanation: in New Mexico, a preliminary investigation is conducted to determine whether a crime has been committed and to gather information about the incident. This is an important step in the investigation process, as it helps to identify potential leads and guide further investigation. Question 29. Which of the following is a responsibility of law enforcement officers in New Mexico? A. To provide medical care to injured individuals. B. To provide counseling services to victims. C. To provide transportation services to witnesses. D. To provide administrative support to other agencies. Correct answer: A. To provide medical care to injured individuals. Explanation: in New Mexico, law enforcement officers are responsible for providing medical care to injured individuals as part of their role in responding to emergencies. This includes providing basic first aid and stabilizing injuries until medical professionals can take over. Question 30. Scenario. Officer Garcia is responding to a call about a domestic disturbance. Upon arrival, she finds a family arguing in the living room. What should Officer Garcia do? A. Separate the parties and try to mediate the dispute. B. Arrest one of the parties for disorderly conduct. C. Call for backup before proceeding. D. Use force to intervene in the dispute. Correct answer. A. Separate the parties and try to mediate the dispute. Explanation. In this scenario, Officer Garcia should prioritize de-escalation and try to mediate the dispute. This involves separating the parties, calming them down, and addressing the root causes of the conflict. This approach helps to reduce tension and prevent further escalation.